Hi, I'm Jason, and you're watching Two Old Guys with Crossbows. So, it's getting to be bear season. It's been open for a couple of weeks, but we've not been able to get anywhere near our bear sites. Hopefully this weekend. But I thought I'd better get the cameras out and go through the settings and see where we're set. And in that way, we're ready when I head up to Greg's again to go hunting. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video on the settings of the Canon Vixia HF R800. To change the settings on the Canon Vixia HF R800, where I start is push the little house and you come to your settings screen, other settings. And where I want to go is to shooting mode. We use scene. When you get your camera set for auto, that is not the best setting for what we do. Highlight priority is not something that really works well for us either. Cinematic mode, it's more for shooting movies than it is for shooting hunting videos. And we use scene. That is the setting that we use the most. I prefer to use the scene settings. Now, portrait is for interviews. I use this setting for interviews. It engages the face recognition setting on the camera. So when you're doing an interview, you can see that you have where the face, it will recognize the faces. Sports, that is for fast moving. I use this one for birds and things like that. Flying birds and things like that. That's the setting I use for that. I've never really used this night scene because it doesn't really do what I want it to do. So that one is not one I use. I have used the snow setting in previous winters, and it allows the camera not to see or not to overexpose. The main settings that we use are portrait and low light. And the reason that we use this is it does cause the sensor to try and grab more light. And I have used this fireworks setting for filming fireworks. This setting I have not used either, so I'll be honest about that. I may try it out. But mainly what we use is low light and portrait. Now, the next setting is the screen with the cog. The next setting that we use is the screen with the cog, and that sets your video speed. Now, for interviews and things like that, I set it for 24 frames per second. When we're filming hunts, I set it to low light and 60 frames per second, which is the highest rate that this camera will film, but it gives the ability to at least slow to 30 frames per second for somewhat slow-mo shots. So when the camera is set up for hunts, it's set up in low light and 60 frames per second. Low light, it doesn't show the frame rate on here. Now, the other thing we learned last year to extend our shooting by about 10 minutes is to increase the exposure as high as it'll go to, and it increases our low light capability by about 10 minutes. Your footage is a little grainy, but it's still usable. Hope you enjoyed this week's video. On the subject of filming hunts, we use the Canon Vixia HF R800, which is the bottom of the line Canon camera. You know, we are filming hunts, and everybody's saying DSLR, DSLR, and yes, they can film, but they have two issues that a video camera doesn't. The first one is most DSLRs have a 30-minute maximum record rate, which in a lot of situations just doesn't work for us. The second thing that a video camera has over a DSLR is that this camera and most video cameras, when in a studio setting like this, you can have it plugged into the wall and you don't use any battery. So this thing will last forever. It'll record as long as there's room on the SD cards. Also, video cameras are made for videography. And I don't care if you use Canon like us, or Sony, or Panasonic, or JVC. They all have starter cameras. And once you learn the system, it's easy to graduate to closer to professional cameras. I was hoping this spring to move to the Canon XA11, but I don't think that's going to happen after the winter we've had. In the near future, I would like to get that camera, and when we outgrow it in a few years, to move up to the very professional XF series. XF 400, 405, and 700 and 705. One of those cameras. It doesn't matter which line you pick, because they all go from basic like this all the way up to extremely professional cameras. One of the videographers that I am absolutely enthralled with is Todd Moen of Catch Magazine in his fly fishing videos. And he uses a Sony professional video camera. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you out in the field in the next few days.